You know, in politics, how you say something can be just as powerful as what you're saying. Today, we're going to take a look under the hood of a really powerful argument from a Fox News segment. We're going to break it down piece by piece to see exactly how it's built. So, this is the central claim. The whole argument we're looking at today hangs on this one really startling statement. I mean, it's designed to make you stop and listen, right? And it works. But the real question is, how do you get from a debate about policy all the way to a fight for the actual survival of the nation? And that's exactly what we're going to do. Just to be clear, we're not here to debate if this claim is true or false. Our job is to understand the mechanics, the nuts and bolts of how this argument works. So let's just follow the logic that was presented, one step at a time. Okay, so every good argument needs a foundation, right? And this one starts by laying some groundwork. It doesn't just jump to the big conclusion. Instead, it starts by pointing out what it calls a really concerning pattern. A pattern made up of specific policies. So here's where we see a really interesting technique at play. You could call it bundling. The argument takes a bunch of different policy positions, things like defunding the TSA or ICE, shutting down Homeland Security, not requiring voter ID, and lists them all together. Now, any one of these is its own separate debate, right? But when you stack them up like this, the idea is to paint one single, kind of alarming picture. And then comes the next logical step. The argument doesn't leave it up to you to guess the connection. No, it connects the dots for you, very clearly. It says, hey, this isn't just a random list of policies. The claim is that when you add all that up, what you're actually looking at is a deliberate attempt to destroy the republic. All right, now the argument completely shifts gears. We're moving away from the world of abstract policy and into something much more raw, much more emotional. It takes the supposed consequences of these policies and ties them directly to real, tragic human stories. So first, it sets up the action. The argument makes the claim that certain policies are being used to shield criminal illegal aliens. And then boom, it connects that action directly to a terrible consequence, the death of an Air Force veteran on a subway track. The way it's presented, it's a straight line, cause and effect, no ambiguity. And to really hammer the point home, the argument brings up a second example. This time it names names, the president, a governor, a mayor, and says they're the ones responsible for letting an individual go free. And what happened next? According to the source, that person went on to commit a horrific murder. And you gotta pay attention to the words being used here. Precious American woman, in cold blood. That's not just factual reporting. That's language chosen to really hit you on an emotional level. And this is a really crucial pivot in the argument. After giving you these two specific stories, it zooms out to make a much, much bigger point. It's no longer about a couple of isolated tragedies. It's now presented as a continuous, ongoing problem, shedding American blood. See how that frames it as a constant, active threat? Okay, so let's track this. We started with policies, we moved to personal tragedies, and now the argument kicks it up another notch, a big one. This isn't just about crime anymore. Now it's being framed as nothing less than a fight for the very survival of the country. And to make that existential threat feel real, the argument throws out a huge number, 20 million. A number like that is meant to show the massive scale of the problem, right? It takes it from being about a few specific incidents and turns it into this giant nationwide issue. And if you want to raise the stakes, what's one way to do it? You bring up 9/11. By reminding the audience that the Department of Homeland Security was created specifically to stop foreign nationals from killing Americans, the argument reframes the whole debate. Suddenly, defunding the DHS isn't just a political or budget issue. It's portrayed as dismantling the very shield that protects the country from another major tragedy. And really, this is what it all boils down to, according to the argument. It strips away all the complexity, all the nuance. It's not a political debate with lots of different viewpoints anymore. It's presented as a simple, black and white choice. You're either fighting to save America or you're fighting to end it. That's it. No room for anything in between. Okay, we're at the final piece of the puzzle. This is where the argument connects everything we've talked about so far. The immigration policies, the national security concerns, and links it all directly to the one thing that underpins everything, the voting process itself. So how does it make that connection? With a rhetorical question. It basically asks, hey,
Why would a political party let in all these people and at the same time refuse to support voter ID? The question is framed in a way that it practically answers itself, leading you toward one specific conclusion.
And here's the answer the argument provides. It's not subtle about it. The claim is that this is all a deliberate strategy to let illegal aliens vote, to tilt the balance of power, and ultimately change the entire political map of the country.
And that's the crescendo. That's the peak of the argument. It's moved way beyond just physical safety or crime. The final claim is that this is a direct attack on the very heart, the very foundation of American democracy.
So let's just do a quick recap of the journey we took. You can see the steps here. It all started with a pattern of policies. That pattern was then linked to American deaths. From there, it was escalated into a battle to end America. And the final destination? A plot to rig elections and destroy democracy. It's a pretty clear four-step progression. So that leaves us with one final big question to think about. We've spent this time breaking down how this argument is built. But maybe the more important question is, so what? What happens to our political conversations when disagreements over policy get framed like this, not as different ideas, but as a life or death struggle for the entire country? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this breakdown.